Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and here we are at the second draft of this franchise. So now we're into 2019, the first year player draft. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. So what's funny is that I thought that Machado got that qualifying offer, but he really didn't. So I didn't have to give up a first round pick. I don't know how that worked, because I thought that he did have that qualifying offer extended, but apparently not, because we have the 14th pick here. So let's actually advance here and see who gets picked up. So let's actually look at this first guy here, Salvador Rodriguez, 19 years old, 80 potential. Let's just look at how he is. So it looks like he's not projected to be in the MLB for a very, very long time, and I guess that's what they were looking for, and that's Tampa Bay. And then let's look at Detroit, because we know we were possibly going to make a trade for Michael Fulmer. So let's look who they drafted. They drafted an 80 potential guy, 55 overall. Looks like he's not ready for a few years. So let's just look at these guys, see if there's any guys that are ready in the near future. No, all these guys are drafted. Okay, here's the guy right here, Robert Bernero. So he looks like he's 21, 65 overall, 80 potential. He has pretty good stats. It looks like his hits per 9 has the potential to go up, his strikeouts per 9 as well. Let's look to see if there's anybody else. So this guy, 60 overall. Let's just see if there's anybody, because remember last year Jason Luna is already like 74 overall, I believe, and that was the guy we faced in the last episode, versus 2 episodes ago actually, versus the Toronto Blue Jays. So none of these guys are really projected to be ready quite yet. 2022 is probably the closest, and that's a closing pitcher going up above us. So let's pick our first player. So we actually did scout quite a few guys in this draft, starting out with the first blue chipper here, Donnell Lincoln. So he's 60 overall, 80 potential, but we don't really need I know it's like a cardinal sin to draft blue chippers if they're up there, but we don't really have to do that here, because let's just look at all the guys we scouted. I'm not going to look at any guys we didn't scout, especially not in the first round. So it doesn't have the scouted tab here. So let's just scout by accuracy here, and then sort by accuracy. So let's just look at some of these guys. So Jeffrey Herbert, 18 years old, 2021. He's 70 potential. So we're going for these 80 potential guys right now. So here's one, Andres Pena, and it looks like he's ready for 2023. I kind of want to get a guy that's closer to now. So let's keep going down the line, see if we see any more 80 potential guys. Here's one, Joe Petty, a first baseman. Remember, we do need our eventual replacement for Justin Bour, but I'm not sure if I want to use my first pick on a first baseman, especially since it's a first baseman. So let's look at Carlos Velasquez. He's 22 years old, but he's only 55 overall, 80 potential. I don't really like that because he is kind of lower overall right now. So let's just keep going down. Here's another 80 potential guy. So 19 years old, Otis Pendergast. So he's actually pretty decent if you look at him. 70 out of 70 speed. So he's got speed from second base. And then he's got 70 out of 80 contact versus left. His right-handed hitting zones are actually pretty good right now. Looks like he's not going to have great power. It's going to be about average, a little below average probably in power, but he's going to have good plate discipline and okay arm strength. I mean, it's going to be about average or so, a little above average, but he has speed. So this is a guy to keep your eye on. He is 19 years old too, so he's got a lot of time to progress. And at 80 potential, I mean, he's going to have probably a potential, hopefully. So looks like, I don't know, looking at all these guys, we do have some 75 potential guys. Let's look at some of the 75 potential guys. So Bill Garvey, but look at him. He's 22 years old and only 50 overall. So meaning he's not going to be ready for a long time. Let's see if there's any more 75 potential guys. This guy's actually pretty decent as well. So he's actually got 70 out of 80 reactions. So he's going to be a guy that can field. He can actually play outfield too. So left field and center field, which is weird. Why left field and center field? Why not all three? And let's see what he does well. So he has high contact. He has decent speed. I think his reaction and his fielding are his best attributes, as well as plate vision, well above average for plate vision. So this is a guy to keep your eye on. But right now, I think I'm looking at that 80 potential guy. If we can get another A potential infielder, we don't even have any A potential guys, really. We have Howard Armas and then Trevor Rogers, who, remember, Trevor Rogers is kind of in a little bit of trade talks. Remember, he's included in that Michael Fulmer deal, so I don't know if we'll keep him. So let's go with Otis Pendergast. Let's see if there's actually any more 75 potential guys that we might want here? One more, Josh Richardson, but he's a closing pitcher. I'm not going to go closing pitcher in the first round. And then Alberto Almanza. He's actually not bad, but he's a first baseman. So I think I like Otis Pendergast as our first pick here, a second baseman. ETA in a couple of years, but you know what? I like him as a potential. You do want to get those guys on your team, so let's go with him, and let's just see what comes up on our next pick. So I've seen a couple of guys go that we had scouted here. Okay, so that's what happened. So it looks like our second pick actually was lost in that draft. So in this draft. So now let's move on to this competitive balance round. Let's just look at a couple of guys who did go, who we had scouted. So Hinojosa, I don't know how to say that last name. Hinojosa, I don't even know how to say that name. So it looks like he went. We had him fully scouted. We did have Richard Pack fully scouted. So now let's go to our pick here. So let's look at the guy that was picked above us, Jim Donnelly. Looks like he's a decent right fielder. I mean, he's got 70 potential. So let's pick our player here and then sort by accuracy. So we do still have some 75 potential guys. We still have an 80 potential guy here, 60 overall. Looks like he's 80 potential, another A potential guy. Maybe we might want to go with another A potential guy. Let's see if we can get another 80 guys. So no, it doesn't look like we do. So let's look at some of these other guys that we have fully scouted. Josh Richardson, 2021. It looks like he's pretty decent. I mean, he's got 80 arm strength. It looks like he's gonna have pretty good hits per 9. I don't know if he's gonna be a closer though. He's listed as a closer, but I don't know. Let's look at Domingo Castilla. He's 70 potential. We just drafted a second baseman, so not sure we want to go there. Let's look at Cameron Tejada. So a 23-year-old, but he's got 80 potential. So I don't know. He's kind of older. That's why I'm kind of hesitant with him. And then Alex Guerrero, a 21-year-old. He's okay. I mean, his potential's at 70. So I think that's going to be like a mid to low B, I think. So I think let's look at some of these other guys. So we do have Jeffrey Herbert, and he's decent. He's got 70 potential right now, 65 overall. I actually like him better because he's 18 years old, so he's kind of a guy that's younger and can grow. And here's another one, 75 potential. So Sean Gonzalez, and he's a right-hander, 22 years old. I actually like that he has 70 out of 80 walks per 9. That means he's definitely not going to walk a lot of guys. So let's look at Herbert one more time. So it looks like he's got 70 potential as walks. I mean, nothing really that sticks out more for Herbert than Sean Gonzalez here. I think Sean Gonzalez actually has kind of a higher ceiling if you look at him, 75 potential. Sean Gonzalez, let's look at some of these other guys here. Let's look at Cameron Tejada one more time. I mean, it doesn't look like he does anything great. He's got 80 potential for break, but then his walks per 9 is 65. I mean, this is interesting. So let's look back at Sean Gonzalez one more time. I actually think I might go with him. He's 22. He is a little older, but at 75 potential, I'm willing to take that risk in the second round. We do need some pitching, remember. We also do need some position players because we don't have any position players really with high B to low A potential. So I think I'm going to go with Sean Gonzalez here. He is older, but I still like him. He is closer to the MLB, and he has 75 potential. So let's go with him. Strictly on that walks per 9, I like that he had higher walks per 9. So look at Jeffrey Herbert went a pick right before us. So now let's go to our pick. So now we're on to our third pick here, and let's see if we have any more guys that we have fully scouted here. So we have Domingo Castilla. He's 22 years old. He's got 80 out of 80 speed. So I don't think I want to get him since I did draft a second baseman earlier. I kind of want to go outfield here, and we don't have any outfielders fully scouted. We do have a couple of other guys. Luis Sanchez, he's okay. His hitting zones definitely need to develop a little bit, but I want to go for a guy that I know has higher potential right now. Domingo Castilla's there. we might have to guess here. We might have to guess a little bit. So let's look at the 8 potential guys. What I like to do is if it's a hitter, I like to look at their hitting zones if I don't have them fully scouted. That really tells you a lot, especially with like somebody like Howard Armas. It really helped when I looked at his hitting zones because he ended up being actually really good. So Ron Hacker's actually decent. Let's keep going down the line. This guy's actually, whoa. I mean, this guy looks like a prodigy. Raul Coronado, looks like he's 80 out of 80 speed. His hitting zones are actually pretty decent. I mean, I like what I see from him right now. His arm strength is actually, I mean, everything looks like it has the potential to be, I mean, elite. Reaction, speed, stealing, arm strength, fielding, plate vision's even 75. I mean, this guy looks like a beast. I mean, we don't have him fully scouted, but I mean, hey, I mean, he looks good. And he looks like he's at 70 overall right now, but I'm pretty sure that's not accurate whatsoever. Let's keep an eye on this guy. I just took a glimpse on this guy, Carlos Palmeiro. It looks like, man, he's 80 overall right now. I mean, that would be insane. And this guy as well, Vincent Angel. I mean, all these guys are like too good to be true. I kind of like this Raul Coronado. I like what I see from him because he's got the high arm strength. He's got the hitting zones. So I kind of want to go with him. Carlos Palmeiro is pretty good though. If you look at him, I mean, he's, I don't know, because like I said, our accuracy is not there. I kind of like Coronado because I do need some position players. So let's go with him and see where that takes us. So now we're on to our next pick, and it's pretty much going to be slim pickings from here on out. So we do have 3 more picks left. Let's pick this player here. And let's sort by potential once again. Let's see if that relief pitcher. So Palmeiro is still there. So should we go after this guy? I mean, 80 overall right now, 80 potential. What if it ends up being that he is that good? I mean, that would be insane. So you know what? Let's look at the rest of these guys here. Reggie Gale. I mean, all these guys. Look at this, 80 overall, 80. I mean, none of these guys are probably going to be that high, but I like Carlos Palmeiro because he is 19 as well. I mean, and we do need pitching. I'm going to use a couple of these picks on pitching because we don't have any top pitching prospects. And Reggie Gale looks like he's going to be pretty good if, you know, I stick with him. But I kind of like Palmeiro. I like Palmeiro here. He's 19 years old, 2020. Let's go with him because he's a young pitcher. You know, he's 80 potential, but we don't have the accuracy, but we're pretty much guessing. So let's just go with him. I kind of like maybe the potential that we'll see out of him, and it can't get much worse. I mean, honestly, I mean, if he's 80 potential, it goes down. It's not going to go down to like a F potential or something like that. So now let's pick again. So let's just, who do we draft? So we drafted a relief pitcher, a second baseman, a right fielder. Looks like, why is Sean Gonzalez listed twice? I don't know why he's listed twice, but that's pretty much who we drafted so far. It looks like we might need another starting pitcher, and the reason why is because some of our starting pitchers might be getting dealt. We don't know. Depends on, you know, the offers we get, if we get any at all. So let's look at some starting pitching here, and let's start at the top with Henry Samuel. It looks like he's 65 overall. He is a lefty, and that's the thing. We might need to get another lefty because look at our organization pretty much. Harleen Garcia. We also have Trevor Rogers, who, like I said, might get traded. And besides that, I mean, not really much from left-handers. So we might need to look at this guy, a couple of these guys. So Tim Conrath, he's 70 potential, but I kind of like what I'm seeing from this guy, Henry Samuel. And it looks like he's going to be more than likely one. I mean, this accuracy is small. I mean, not very strong here, but, you know, he's probably going to be ready a few years down the road. He's only 18 years old. So I kind of like what I see from him. Let's just keep going down the line a little bit and see if there's anybody else that really sticks out. Nobody here. Let's go up a little bit. Looks like his break is pretty good. Fred Dodson, he's 75 potential, 21 years old. Daniel Hatton, almost said Ricky Hatton. His per 9 is 80 out of 80. That's the only thing. I do like this guy, Daniel Hatton. So should we go with the lefty here? Because we do need some lefties in our organization. but also, he doesn't do anything exceptional. That's the thing. He doesn't do anything exceptional. It looks like he has 75 potential in walks per 9, but besides that, Daniel Hatton at 80 out of 80 hits per 9. I mean, that's kind of tough. I think I might go with Samuel just because he's a lefty. Simply because he's a lefty, and he's 4 years younger. So, I don't know. I'm taking a flyer here because I really don't know, and his injury risk is kind of low. So, I mean, here's the thing. If your injury risk is low, that's a good thing, because take it from me, last year, we had Monty Harrison. He got hurt for like pretty much the whole year, and it kind of stunted his growth. I mean, he stopped developing, and he probably could have developed some more because he was actually doing pretty good. So let's go with Henry Samuel at starting pitcher. And with these last 2 picks, I kind of want to address catcher. Let's look at catcher because we don't have like any catchers in our organization. So we kind of need to get that right now because, like I said, we got Taylor Ward, who actually might be dealt as well. And this is probably the only catcher we're looking at. Carmen Fabregas. I mean, here's the thing. I just don't have many options at catcher, and he might be our only one. I mean, really, he might be our only one. And we need to get better at that position. So let's just look at starting pitcher. Daniel Hatton's still there. So you think Daniel Hatton will last one more round? I think he might. I mean, if he hasn't gone yet, maybe he'll last. So let's actually go with, I want to go with Hatton, but I kind of need to get this catcher because there's not many options below him. If Hatton does drop to the next round, I mean, if he goes before I pick next, at least we have a couple of options here for pitcher. Another one, Brad Ramirez. He's 70 potential, but we don't really know with the accuracy. So I think I might go with Fabregas here. So let's just see what he does well. So plate vision's at 70. His power versus right has a potential for 80, and obviously we don't have the accuracy, but it's pretty good to see that. And then his blocking is pretty good. His reaction is pretty good. His arm strength is pretty good, actually. I think I might go with this guy. And if you look at his hitting tendencies, he kind of hits to all fields, which is something you really you need to pay attention to a little bit, because that way you can see how good he hits. So if you don't have any accuracy on the guy, look at their hitting zones. This guy's hitting zones are decent, not bad. It's not like they're all blue. And he also can hit to all fields equally. And especially it's good to see that center field is the main is the most highest percentage, because then that means he just hits the ball solidly. So I think I'm gonna go with this guy and see how good he ends up being. Look at that, Daniel Hatton went right after. So, that was actually the last round. I lost track of the rounds. So, I mean, at least Daniel Hatton got picked up. Let's see who he got picked by. He got picked by Milwaukee. So, maybe it turns out that, we can maybe get after him. So, look, he ended up being 70 overall. Ooh, we should have maybe went with Daniel Hatton. He ends up being 70 overall. So, let's look at the rest of these guys. So, Fabregas ended up being 70 overall, but look at that potential. We should have went with Daniel Hatton. We should have done it. His hits per 9 is actually really, really high, 87. So let's just look at the rest of these guys around here. So let's look at the 80 potential guys that we didn't have accuracy on. Jose Cabrera was one of them. So it looks like he's 55 overall with B potential. You know what I'm finding out is that usually if you see an 80 potential guy, they end up actually at minimum having B potential or C potential. So we maybe should have went with Hatton there. Let's look at some other rounds here and just see some other 80 potential guys. So here's 80 potential. So he had B potential. He ended up being Benny Boogs. Okay, so this is an 80 potential guy. He ended up having C potential. So I guess it's not always the case, but let's just look to see how our draft picks did turn out. So let's look at signed draft picks. So it looks like we did turn out to get some pretty good picks. It looks like Fabregas is actually the lowest potential. So let's go one by one. Our first pick, Otis Pendergast. So he's 64 overall. He ends up having really good speed. Like I said, that was one of the things that I liked about him. His power definitely needs to get up. His arm strength and fielding, that's pretty low. But I mean, he comes in at B potential, not bad for our first pick, and he comes at 86. So Sean Gonzalez was the second guy. He comes in at 82 potential, 66 overall. Not bad for a lefty. His walks per 9 are pretty high, like I pointed out before. But you know, nothing too great right now, but he does have B potential. But look who we did hit a home run on. Raul Coronado. So he's actually 68 overall right now, which is actually really, really good for an A potential guy. He's definitely going to be ahead of Howard Armas, it looks like, because if you think about it, Howard Armas is only like 58 overall right now, and Raul Coronado is 19, and he's already 10 points higher in overall. But look at this. His speed is 88, steely at 91, base running aggressively at 96. So he's going to be pretty good on the base pass when it's all said and done. And his arm strength is actually decent for a young guy, 19 years old, 71 arm strength. Pretty hard to beat that. So we kind of hit a home run with our third pick. Looking at our fourth pick, Palmeiro was the guy that I thought was going to be really, really good. Looks like his home runs per 9 is pretty high. He's decent, 69 overall. He throws right. He's only 19. He's got time to develop, but at only 76 potential. There's not much that he's going to grow, but he's pretty good. Henry Samuel. So this was a guy that I definitely wanted, and it ends up being a pretty good pick. 86 potential. He's a left-hander, starting pitcher, 18 years old, so he's going to develop into something really well. I was hoping for an A potential starting pitcher, but you know what? Henry Samuel isn't bad because he's 65 overall right now, and he's got 86 potential. And going to the last guy, Carmen Fabregas. So it looks like he's okay. His potential is at a D, though. That's the only thing. So it seems like when you have potential at D, you're always going to be declining, which is kind of a bad sign for us. Let's just look at some of the other teams here. So let's look at who was the highest potential overall in this draft. Let's see if I can find in the first round possibly. Let's just keep going through here. Kelvin Zimmerman, it looks like he was 61 overall. It looks like, you know, the higher the overall, likely the lower the potential, and the lower the overall, it seems like the higher potential for some of these top picks, because this guy's 51 overall, but he's got A potential. And even Jose Cordero, oh my gosh, this guy's 97 potential, but he's only 53 overall, so he's not even going to be touching the majors anytime soon. I just want to find somebody who's like pretty good potential that's high overall right now. Let's just see he's 50 overall. He's not even going to be close. So here's another one, Cameron Tejada, he's okay. Sam Crow, another 90. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. So this guy's actually probably a year or two away. Sam Crow, he's 65 overall, but I want to see a guy that's kind of high overall and close to being up there. So it looks like Bernero from the Phillies. So the Phillies in our own division had a pretty good top draft pick, 21 years old, 72 overall, A potential. So it looks like he's probably the top pick right now looking at the rest of our divisions here. And then Daniel Hatton looks like he's pretty good. Wow, he went in the last round. Man, I should have went with Daniel Hatton, but hey, I mean, sometimes you roll the dice, and this time I didn't come up with the win here. So Daniel Hatton, 22 years old, but like I said, 70 overall, 88 potential. So that's pretty good for their last pick. So let's go back to our team really quick, see if I can find him. So here we go. So I like Henry Samuel. I mean, he's a decent guy, 86 potential. I like him. And Raul Coronado, like I said, he's pretty good, and he might make, you know, somebody like Elvis Aguila, he might make him expendable, especially at 90 potential. I mean, we'll see. So that's our draft class, man. Let me know what you guys thought about it. I mean, we drafted at least one A potential guy. We wanted two, but we got at least 3 B potential guys. So Henry Samuel, Otis Pendergast with our top pick. He's actually pretty decent. And then also Sean Gonzalez. So let me know what you guys thought about this draft class, because we're going to be looking to make some trades coming up, and we wanted to make sure our farm system is set up for the future. And I think this is pretty much set up. And that's going to do it for this episode. So hit subscribe, hit that like button, because next episode, we're likely going to make a trade. I'm letting you guys decide on the last episode who I should go for. And it's a close one. I gotta admit it. It's a close one, probably between Carrasco and Michael Fulmer. I mean, those are the two guys that you guys said I should possibly go after. So probably next episode we'll make a trade. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. You don't want to miss any action coming up, because we're getting into pretty much a playoff race with our division. Let's just look to see where we're at in our division. Looks like we lost the last game. So actually we won the last game. So 2-1. We lost the first game to the Yankees 0-5. Harleen Garcia gets the loss. Then we beat Tanaka as Estrada gets the win. So let's just look at the standings here. We're a half game above the Nationals, and only because we have one more win. So if we look at let's just look at the wild card here. So it looks like we'd probably be second in the wild card even if we weren't leading our division. So I mean, that's pretty good. I can't lie, it's pretty good. Let's just look at our overall rank. So we're ranked 25th overall. We're 28th in pitching, 15th in power, 6th in contact, 9th in speed actually, and 19th on the defensive side. So I think we're doing okay. Let's look to see where we rank as far as team rankings. Let's see where we rank in batting average, because remember we were down at the bottom 5 at the early parts of the season, and look, we're still down there. So we definitely got to make some improvements there. It's going to be hard to kind of rise up, because we can get there. I mean, we're not too many points off from some of these teams above us here. So hopefully our bats do get going. Our pitching is definitely carrying us up to this point. Let's look at to see where we are in ERA. So it looks like we're number 1 in fielding percentage, number 1 in errors. So let's look at ERA. So we're 5th in ERA, which is pretty good. Let's look at WHIP. Do they have WHIP here? I don't think they have WHIP, but I mean, I'm kind of glad to see how great we're doing. And I mean, this is pretty good. I like this draft. We didn't do too bad. We didn't draft any too low of prospects, too low of potential. So Carmen Fabregas is probably the lowest. So I think we did pretty good. So hit subscribe, hit that like button, because you guys don't want to miss any action coming up, and you guys dictate what's going on in this series, man. I'm really letting you guys decide. So stay tuned, man. Let's get it. Let's go.